Good morning. Come on, y'all can do better than that. Thank you. My name is Randy Schessler, and I am your service associate this morning. We are so glad that you have joined us, both here in the hall and on your screens. You may have noticed that our interim minister, Reverend Natalie, is not here in person with us this morning as originally planned. Reverend Natalie is sick. And out of an abundance of caution, she has decided to stay home to avoid exposing others. She wants you to know that she's doing just fine and will be joining us via Zoom for several parts of our service this morning, so you get to see her virtually. Thank you all for your flexibility and understanding. And now, let us begin our service together. Welcome to the Edmonds Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are a pluralistic faith community of seekers, humanists, theists, atheists, agnostics, and everything in between. We are committed to treating each other with compassion and respect, learning from one another, and sharing our resources to help build a more just world. We gather weekly to connect, to wrestle with life's big questions, and to rededicate ourselves to living our Unitarian Universalist values of justice, equity, generosity, pluralism, transformation, interdependence, and love. Whether this is your first Sunday with us or you've been here more Sundays than you could ever count, we are so grateful you have chosen to be here with us this morning. Welcome, everyone. If this is your first time with us on site this morning and you have not yet had a chance to visit the welcome desk in the narthex, we invite you to do so after the service. Our wonderful welcome team will be glad to answer your questions about our congregation. If you're joining us online, please go to our website at euuc.org and click on the tab that says, I'm new. Then click on, What are you interested in? To learn more about opportunities to get involved in our congregation. As we begin our service, we remind you to please silence your phones. I've got to do it too. And we invite everyone to remember that we welcome all children for all parts of our worship service and that the noises they make are both sacred and holy. And here are a few quick announcements this morning about events that are happening in and around EUUC. Number one, EUC Church Color Choices Update. Thank you for the 62 of you who weighed in on the color choices for our church. Here's a summary of the data we collected. Color number 1, Urbane Bronze, 4 votes. Color number 2, Iron Ore, 15 votes. Color number 3, Smokehouse, 31 votes. And 8 people created and voted on a new category. We don't like any of them. We'll be sending you an email with the top 2 possibilities for your vote. Watch your inbox. Or should I say inboxes? Number 2, CBEC registration is filling fast. CBEC 2026 is themed Exploring Our Relationship with Nature, and it will begin on Friday, September 25th, and end Sunday, September 27th. We already have over 60 people registered. Family rooms are mostly full, but doubles and singles are plentiful. This weekend retreat held on Hood Canal features historic and nature walks, good food, gathering together, discussions, and sing-alongs. Bring your swimming suit so you can also be a polar bear. More information and online registration using the QR code and at euuc.org/retreats. For questions, contact Bruce Baker or cbac@euuc.org. Number 3, First Sunday lunch in September. First Sunday lunch in September will be a family potluck. No need to sign up, just bring something to share. Ice cream sundaes will be provided. For those of you who are ice cream addicts, that is definitely a ticket to go. And now we'll open our service with our land acknowledgement. Let us remember that our congregational home, this site on which we are gathered this morning, is placed on the ancestral lands of the Snohomish people, who have inhabited this region of the Salish Sea since time immemorial and who continue their livelihoods on these lands today. May we all live and learn humbly as allies to the Snohomish. Each week we commit and complete a sign and signal of our faith tradition, Unitarian Universalism, by placing a flame in the bowl of this chalice. Week after week, month after month, year after year, we light this chalice to symbolize the warmth of this community and the flame of our hope, which still burns brightly even in the midst of challenging and uncertain times. We light our chalice with these words by the Reverend Leslie Takahashi, who writes, "Here in this place of peace, may we find hope. Here in this place of connection, may we find life-giving community. Here in this place of rest, let the unrest of our hearts turn us toward justice. Here in this space, made sacred by memories of connection, let us each feel ourselves part of the new that grows from the old in a spiraling unity of years." Now let us say our affirmation. You can say it out loud, listen to the group reading, sign it, or otherwise participate as you wish. We need each other, and so we come to this place to work and dance and laugh and cry and think. We call ourselves a religious community, not because this place in itself is holy ground, but because we do here and say here and are here. Make it so. So let it be. We invite you to rise in body and spirit as you are comfortable to join in singing our opening hymn, number 203 in the gray hymnal, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky. The words will also be projected on the screen.
All right. Hello. Can I be heard? Oh, hey. Good morning, everyone. It's really lovely to see you all virtually this morning. Sorry I can't be there in person, but I'm here to share with you a time for all ages. So I'm going to invite our children and youth to snuggle up, the grown-ups that came up this morning, for a very special story. This story, called Listen to the Language of the Trees, with words by Tara Kelly and pictures by Marie Herman. Listen to the language of the trees, a story of how forests communicate underground. The forest was full of chattering. A jay shrieked at a sniffing coyote. A squirrel scolded them from a low branch. The trees rustled as if whispering to each other. No one noticed the tiny seedling pushing its way above the soil. Quietly, its needles stretched out in the cool darkness of the forest floor. It was a miracle it sprouted at all. As a seed, it had been tucked inside a cone hanging high on the branch of a giant tree, till one day, the squirrel grabbed the cone and scampered down the tree. He buried it in a special spot for a winter snack. The seed rested underground for months. Luckily, the squirrel had a lot of special spots, and he never came back. Nestled inside its cone, the seed waited. When it was ready, the seedling sprouted at the base of a giant tree. Centuries ago, this mighty tree was a tiny seedling too. Now it towered over all the other trees in the forest, strong and straight. It looked like it could survive anything, but no part of the forest is entirely free from danger. As small as it was, the seedling's root reached underground and met the roots of the other trees. Threaded between them was a silky net of fungi, a web that stretched from root to root and beyond. Through this web, the forest passed secrets. The trees talked to each other through their roots. They spoke of danger, of drought and pests. They spoke of what one tree needed and another had to give. The seedling began to listen. The giant tree with its huge crown gathered an abundance of sunlight. It soaked it up and turned it into food. It took care to send the little seedling enough to nourish it. How did it know the seedling was one of its own? It was a mystery, buried under the soil where their root tips intertwined. It was not only the tiny seedling that depended on the giant tree, but the rest of the forest too. Larger than all the others, the giant tree sent nutrients through the underground web. It brought water up from deep in the earth. It housed the owl that nestled in its upper limbs, and the coyote with its den at its foot. Day by day, the seedling inched taller. Then one night, everything changed. The sky came alive with lightning flashes. The forest swayed under the force of the winds, and thunder roared in the sky. Tucked safely down below, the seedling's needles barely rustled until, crack! A massive strike lit up the giant tree's crown. Thud! Down went an uppermost branch. The animals of the forest scattered. The jay shrieked. The squirrel ran. For a moment, the giant tree lit up with an orange glow. And then, darkness. In the morning, it was quiet. The giant tree had been struck. It had burned briefly, but it still stood tall. Down on the forest floor, the seedling was missing one of its branches, snapped off when a limb had fallen from the giant tree. Otherwise, it had escaped harm, but something was different. A streak of golden light touched the seedling's needles. Instead of only drinking from its roots, it drank in the full light of the sun. For the first time, it made its own food. After the storm, animals began to return to the forest. The squirrel began its seed cone collection again. The owl took a long nap. The forest waited. The forest listened. That's when the first winged beetle landed. The beetle sent out an odor which said, "Attack!" Winging through the air, crawling over bark, beetles clustered on the giant tree and laid their eggs. The giant tree sent out an alarm, screaming, "Danger!" The warning pulsed through the forest, passing through tree roots, carried by the web of fungi. Day after day, the beetles attacked, a small but persistent swarm. No more sugar flooded the underground web from the giant tree, just distress. Then, something unexpected happened. Through the threads of fungi from root tip to root tip, nutrients flooded, not out from the giant tree, but toward it. The forest gave what it had, so the giant tree might live. And it did. Someday, with luck, the seedling would grow tall too. But for now, it drank deep through the web at its roots and waited and listened as the forest talked. And that, my friends, is the end of our story for all ages this morning. I just want to say a big thank you to our fabulous tech team, Cynthia, Grace, and Randy, for making this morning possible. And Randy, I'm going to turn it back over to you to sing our children out to their class this morning. Thanks, everyone.
This morning, the youngest members of our community will be gathering right outside in the narthex. When you have a moment, please express your gratitude to the adult and young adult leaders who are making this morning's adventures possible. We will now sing the children out. And now, as we ground ourselves even more deeply in this sacred time together, we will enter into a moment of meditation and quiet reflection. I invite you to find a comfortable position, whatever that feels like for your body this morning, to relax your head and neck, soften your gaze, or close your eyes. I invite you to really notice your breath, the rise and fall of your chest as your lungs fill with air and then release. While we so often take our breath for granted, our breath is an everyday miracle, a wondrous force that sustains and nourishes us, that makes our living and the living of so many other beings possible. As you feel your lungs expand, I invite you to offer a silent expression of gratitude for this, your breath of life, and to feel the collective power of us all breathing as one. And now, as we enter the quiet and not the silence, breathe with these words to companion you. May solace come upon you, power rise within you, and peace settle on your heart. May it be so. And now I would like to invite forward the adult choir under the direction of Matt Smith to perform The Lighthouse by Andy Beck.
All right. Thank you so much, friends. Can you hear me? All right. I see a thumbs up from the AV station. Thank you so much. Thank you to our choir for that beautiful music. I have a sermon that I want to share with you all about the wisdom of the trees. In her book, The Light Eaters, environmental journalist Zoe Schlanger shares the following story of a scientist named David Rhodes. Rhodes was a professor of zoology nearby here at the University of Washington. And in the 1980s, he published a scientific paper with some shocking conclusions. You see, over several years, he had been observing the trees living in the experimental forest at UW. In the course of that time, the trees had been plagued by caterpillars. The abundant insects chomped away at the leaves of the trees, making it hard for them to capture sunlight. As a result, the trees had been starving. But then, one year, After several seasons of caterpillar chaos, something curious happened. The caterpillars, which had wrought so much havoc, suddenly began to die. Dr. Rhodes puzzled at this turn of events. What had happened to these hungry caterpillars? He set out to uncover the answer. And the answer he found shocked him. You see, Rhodes concluded that the trees in this forest were communicating with one another. According to his hypothesis, the trees shared information about the caterpillar infestation, and as the warning spread throughout the forest, the trees slowly began increasing the number of chemicals in their leaves that were toxic to caterpillars. As the caterpillars ate these toxins, they began to die. While it was not entirely clear to Rhodes exactly how this communication occurred, he believed that many of the trees on opposite sides of the forest were too far apart to be sharing information through their root systems alone. Instead, he suggested, the trees might be communicating through the air, through the emission of what he called airborne pheromonal substances, or what I like to call secret tree messages. Rhodes' suggestion that the trees could communicate with one another was something the scientific world was not quite ready to hear at the time. The notion that plants could possess behavioral traits similar to animals challenged a lot of modern-day scientific knowledge. But in the decades since Rhodes first published his research, the field of plant behavior within botany has only been growing. Other researchers have come forward with similar findings, that trees can warn each other about environmental threats and can also share nutrients and resources. One of the leading contemporary researchers in this field is Suzanne Simard, an ecologist and professor in the Department of Forest and Conservation Sciences at the University of British Columbia. Growing up in a many generations old logging family, Simard spent her childhood immersed in the forest, thinking about the business of trees, which were her family's livelihood. But as she grew into a young adult, her curiosity about the forest became insatiable, eventually leading her to graduate studies and ecological research. Simard wondered about many things, like why certain patches of trees in the forest near her home were healthier than others. Interested at first in sustainable logging practices, she soon became more invested, more holistically, in the well-being of the forest ecosystem. Throughout her long-term studies of tree growth, Simard uncovered something not unlike Rhodes' own realization years earlier. The trees were communicating with each other. While Rhodes was focused on the ways that trees communicated through the secretion of chemicals in the air, Simard researched the ways that trees communicated with one another underground through vast and complex networks of roots and fungi, which was lovingly nicknamed the Wood Wide Web. This is the web we learned about in our story for all ages this morning. What Simard found when studying root systems was that the healthiest trees had a vast fungal network attached to their roots in the soil. This network of fungi was called mycorrhizal threads, coming from the Greek words myso, meaning fungus, and rhiza, meaning root. These webs of root fungus, she found, played an essential role in tree communication, connecting roots between different trees. It enabled trees to absorb water and nutrients from the soil, but also to exchange them with one another. In her research on the Wood Wide Web, Simard found that trees could exchange resources the way that people do, and that younger, more vulnerable trees were usually more successful when they grew near an older, more established one, which could send them nutrients, water, and information through this underground network. Because of this supportive relationship between older and younger trees, Simard began calling the trees, the older trees, mother trees, drawing parallels with the way that human parents nurture their own children. And she began a research project called the Mother Tree Project, which stretches across 9 distinct forests in British Columbia. In this massive research project, Simard and her team of scientists continued to collect data about the ways that plants in the forest are not only in competition with one another, but also in collaboration with one another. While some of her fellow scientists remain wary of overly ascribing intelligence or sentience to trees, Simard remains resolute in her findings. She writes, "The scientific evidence is impossible to ignore. The forest is wired for wisdom, sentience, and healing." For the scientific world, these research findings have been radical and paradigm shifting. For so long, humans, particularly those of us like myself who are steeped in Western colonial ways of relating to ecosystems, have been taught to see ourselves as more advanced than other life forms, all the way from the dandelions to chimpanzees to spruce trees. But this new wave of research suggests that most living beings have a vastly more complex life than we humans understand. This perspective helps place our sense of superiority in check and maybe helps to heal our relationships with the earth and with ourselves. In his latest book, A World Appears, A Journey into Consciousness, best-selling author and journalist Michael Pollan explores the idea of consciousness in many realms, including the realm of plant life. He concludes that while plants may not have consciousness the way that humans do, they are nonetheless sentient, possessing, he writes, a degree of awareness, a point of view, sensation, preferences, and some agency. Pollan goes on to write about how his own deepening understanding of plant sentience has radically changed the way he relates to the plants he encounters in his own life. Reflecting, for example, on his daily commute across the University of California, Berkeley campus, Pollan writes, "Crossing campus on my way home, I walked through a shaded grove of fragrant eucalyptus trees. I had walked this path across campus countless times before, but today this modest patch of nature felt more alive than it ever had. Everything alive is sentient. To accept this feels not at all like a humiliation of our species, but as a humbling of sorts, and a precious gift, the kinship of all these sentient others as an antidote to our human loneliness." I love the way Pollan captures this idea. Waking up to the realization of sentience, of non-human life is humbling in the best possible way. And it forces us to realize that we are far less alone than we might otherwise believe. All these recent scientific realizations about plant behavior and sentience might be new to people like me who are descended from settler colonists and are new to this land. But the truth is that Western science is just now beginning to grasp at truths that Indigenous communities in this region have known since time immemorial. We are kin with plants and animals, with other species we're all too quick to dismiss or ignore. While there are many examples of this, one such example is the importance of the cedar tree for the Coast Salish peoples of this region in the Pacific Northwest. For thousands of years, Native peoples from British Columbia to the southern Puget Sound have harvested cedar trees and cedar bark for a multitude of purposes. Cedar is lightweight and rot-resistant, making it an incredible building material for homes and canoes. The bark is also pliable and durable, making it excellent for weaving clothing and baskets. Cedar was also used to dress wounds and for its anti-inflammatory healing abilities. Because of these varied and important uses of cedar, and because of the way it has sustained Native communities since time immemorial, Indigenous peoples of this region have long viewed cedar trees as beings with their own life force and spirit. Cedar is generous and powerful and life-giving. Cedar is sentient. This is not new knowledge. It is simply knowledge that some of us new folks like myself are just beginning to understand. Friends, there is a poem by Joy Harjo, a beloved poet and author and member of the Muskogee Nation, that explores the sentience and wisdom of the trees, and I want to share it with you this morning. Harjo served as the 23rd Poet Laureate of the United States, becoming the first Native American to hold that honor, and she wrote this poem titled The Speaking Tree. It goes like this. Some things on this earth are unspeakable. Genealogy of the broken, a shy wind threading leaves after a massacre, or the smell of coffee and no one there. Some humans say trees are not sentient beings, but those humans do not understand poetry, nor can they hear the singing of trees when they are fed by wind or water music, or hear their cries of anguish when they are broken and bereft. Now, I am a woman longing to be a tree, planted in a moist, dark earth between sunrise and sunset. I cannot walk through all realms. I carry a yearning I cannot bear alone in the dark. What shall I do with all this heartache? The deepest rooted dream of a tree is to walk even just a little ways from the place next to the doorway to the edge of the river of life and drink. I have heard trees talking long after the sun has gone down. Imagine what it would be like to dance close together in this land of water and knowledge, to drink deep what is undrinkable. Harjo's stirring words call us to appreciate the wisdom that lives in the trees the same way we appreciate poetry at the spirit level. Now I am a woman longing to be a tree, she writes. Does anyone else here relate to that sentiment this morning? Does anyone else wonder what it might be like, even if only for a moment, to live a life firmly rooted in the rich soils of the forest floor? I know I do sometimes. I wonder what it would be like if I were a tree, what I would feel, what I would know. Would I be better at collaborating, more aware of my interdependence, more inclined to share my resources with others? Would I be less caught up in my own selfish human nonsense and more oriented towards the well-being of the whole ecosystem. I wonder, friends, lately, when I've been wondering about the trees, I've also been remembering a beloved, longtime member of EUUC, Alice Owen, who passed away a few weeks ago at the age of 95. Those of you who knew and loved Alice probably remember her as a very talented artist and painter, as well as a dedicated activist and longtime Unitarian Universalist. You may also know that Alice loved trees. Trees captured her artistic imagination, and she loved to wander through the park near her home and study the trees. Later in life, trees became an important subject in her paintings. In fact, several of those paintings now hang in the administrative wing of our church building. If you haven't had a chance to see them, I encourage you to wander down and check them out. You'll see a few of them on our screens now. Alice once told me she was particularly intrigued by all the details in the tree bark, and many of her tree paintings are close-ups of knots and burls and moss and lichen and fungus growing in intricate patterns on trunks. She would spend hours looking closely at the trees to capture all of their spectacular details. Alice understood that there was a world in the trees, and she took the time to slow down and notice them, to try and capture a bit of their complexity and beauty in painted form for us to appreciate, in the hopes that we might notice too. In an artist's statement about her tree paintings, Alice once wrote, "My message is that you do not have to go far to discover nature's wonders. Just look up close." And so, my friends, this week, I invite you to heed Alice's advice and honor her memory by looking up close at a tree, to find a tree that really speaks to you and to study it, its texture, color, smell, and shape. I invite you to wonder about that tree's story. How old is it? What did it have to survive to be standing there today? What relationships does it nurture with squirrels and birds and lichen and bugs and other trees? What communities rely on it, call the tree home? How does the tree make you feel? Amazed, peaceful, connected? Friends, the trees have insight to share with all of us, if only we cultivate the attention, humility, and care to notice and honor them. May we go forth from this time and place together on this late summer afternoon and do just that. What a gift, my friends, to be alive in this wild and imperfect world, which, for all its failings, is surrounded as it is with so much wisdom and beauty and love. May it be so. Amen. Thank you, friends.
A kind word or a thoughtful act, like a pebble dropped in water, sends ripples out into the world. Should you wish to make a promise or let go of one, remember someone, release a bit of pain, forgive yourself or someone else, otherwise mark some important event or occasion, please step forward and quietly send your thoughts outward as you drop a pebble into the water, mingling the ripples of your intention with the ripples of other people in our community. During this time, as the music plays, please feel free to come forward and place a pebble in the water. Please approach together from both sides at the same time. And once you are finished, please return to your seats by the center aisle. I will begin by dropping one pebble for all those whom we wish were here with us today, and another for those who wish they were here. May it be so. If you are new to our congregation, you will notice that we do not take up a collection for the operations of the congregation. We chose many years ago to support our community by making generous pledges of financial support that we pay month by month, year by year. Instead, our Sunday offering is dedicated to going out into the world to support organizations doing good works that align and extend the mission of this congregation, gathering together, nurturing the Spirit, living our vision of a just and sustainable world. The August cause of the month is the Cocoon House. Cocoon House is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to partner with young people, families, and the community to break the cycle of homelessness. Cocoon House has been a lifeline for teens at risk of homelessness in Snohomish County for nearly 34 years. As the only organization exclusively serving this population, we provide outreach, housing, and prevention services that support young people with more than shelter, offering tools for lifelong success. Every safe night and success story reflects the power of community and your support. Thank you to Donna for bringing this organization to our attention. You may donate using the QR code or go to the EUC website and click Donate. For those of you here, there are baskets out in the narthex through the doors underneath the screen on the wall. As always, thank you for your generous donations. And now for the closing hymn, we invite you to rise in body or spirit as you are comfortable to join in singing our opening hymn, our closing hymn, number 1064 in the teal hymnal, Blue Boat Home. The words will also be projected on the screen.
Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in a beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing a sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
You may be seated. Friends, if you are here in Chapman Hall this morning, you are welcome to gather with us and socialize after the service. please go out the double doors in the back of this hall, grab a hot beverage, and join us for coffee hour, the most sacred ritual in the Unitarian Universalist Republic. We'll be in here, out in the narthex where you can get your hot drink, and out in the playground, weather permitting, with kids of all ages. Finally, we give thanks to all of you who make this Sunday service and the work of this congregation possible. We are so grateful to all of you. And now for the releasing of the flame.
Hello, friends. Can I be heard? Hello. Can I be heard? Hello. Great. Okay, I see a thumbs up. Thank you so much again. I want to echo that thanks to everyone who made this service possible. I'm so grateful to all of you. Please join me in reading the words on our screens as we release the flame of our burning chalice. We release this flame, but not the light of truth. We release this flame, but not the warmth of this community. We release this flame, but not the fire of our commitment. These we will carry in our hearts until we meet again. Friends, go forth from this time and place, drawing strength from the web of this community, knowing that wherever the days ahead may take you, that you are connected, you are beloved, and you do not go alone. The service begins as our service ends. Go in peace, practice love. Amen. Thank you, friends.